Sean, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Daddy, do whatever, Combs. Diddy's key charges, you see right here. From @DramaAlert, Diddy's key charges such as kidnapping, abetting, sex trafficking, and attempted arson have been dropped by his prosecutors. He still faces racketeering and other charges. All right, let's talk about it. See, I said a couple of weeks ago they were going after the wrong things. And I said, they're going to have to drop these charges. You can go back and look. I said it. I said, they're going to go after the wrong things. They're not going to be able to find him guilty on these charges. They're pursuing a bigger deal than they should. The guy's scum. They know he's scum. There's still some big charges against him. But listen, this is what I say. They got so deep into this case, and I think the prosecution just got stage fright here. It was too big for them, because that's what we're watching unfold with this. I truly believe this, because here we are. We're getting to the closing arguments. You got weeks of explosive testimony from over 30 witnesses. Federal prosecutors have now made the move to drop several of the most attention-grabbing predicate acts in their racketeering conspiracy case. As I said, attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, aiding and abetting sex trafficking. They're gone. They dropped them, scrubbed from the official jury instructions. Do you know why they did that? They did it because, according to them, it was all about, quote, jury clarity. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not here to say that legal strategy doesn't matter. I get it. And maybe they were smart. They'll get him on something. But I wish they were going to get him on all of it. But I think they were pursuing the wrong things in all of this. So now, in the name of jury clarity, they're dropping certain charges and allegations. But I think now it's going to confuse the thing. It's going to be even more muddled. Because they bit off more than they could choose at the very beginning. And now they've gone, however far in this thing that they've gotten. And there's going to be confusion now. Because if they're dropping charges, well, the charges that are still there, will they stick? And I get it. Jury instructions can be complicated. You know that. The government wants to land a conviction, and that's fine. But let's not pretend that this wasn't also a retreat from the full truth. See, this case, folks, this is not just about one moment of misconduct. This is about a pattern. It's about a system. The allegations have been laid out to paint a picture of a guy who was using his wealth and his status like a sledgehammer to control, intimidate, isolate, and abuse people. This is gross. And the prosecution's own witnesses describe druggings, emotional terror, professional ruin. They tied Diddy to arson threats and forced confinement. One man even claimed that Diddy ordered him to blow up Kid Cudi's car. They're dropping all of that. That's not part of what the jury's going to legally weigh in on. It's just background noise. It's gone. Because they didn't want to confuse the jury with too much criminality. I mean, that's why they were there, right? But they don't want to confuse the jury with too much criminality. And I'm sorry, if your RICO case is so complicated that the truth becomes inconvenient, you're not just streamlining, you're gutting the gravity of what's at stake. And this is where we have to call it what it is, folks. When a prosecutor, and I'm no legal expert, this is just my observation from the outside. Who am I to even talk about it, but I'm gonna. When you got a prosecutor, and you see this clip right here. I mean, you see this right there on X. This is from my buddy Mike Engelman at Real Hickory. How was James Comey's daughter? Remember James Comey, former director of the FBI. His daughter was assigned to the P. Diddy trial via Bondi's Justice Department after the handling of the Epstein case. She should have been fired, not assigned to anything. I agree. When you got a prosecutor that pulls back right before the finish line, when they trim the charges that speak to systemic abuse, that's not just a legal tactic, it's a message. And to me, I think it's a message to the public that says to the victims, they don't matter. It says we're going to go after the low-hanging fruit, not the real rot. We're going to leave that out if it starts to look messy. This wasn't about arson. It wasn't about kidnapping. These dropped predicates were connective tissue that showed how deep the alleged control went, how fear was weaponized, how abuse wasn't a one-off. It was embedded in a culture that was surrounding this dude. And people say, well, I think Diddy's just a scapegoat. He's probably a low man on the totem pole, whatever. And I agree. I think it goes far deeper than Diddy. And yes, Diddy is still on trial for sex trafficking by force. I don't think they're going to make that stick, honestly. I don't think they're going to. I hope I'm different. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. He's still there for racketeering. He's there transporting women for prostitution. None of that's changed. That's the heart of the case. That's the heart of the case for them now. And I think that heart's still beating. But if the prosecution really wanted to expose the entirety of the disease, they just told the jury, let's only focus on some of the symptoms. It's just gross, man. I don't want to say power protects power, but it does. I mean, you see with this post right here, James Comey's daughter. I mean, in a case like this where the allegations speak to decades of unchecked privilege and silent suffering, we need some prosecutors that just don't blink. And I understand guilty is one thing, but being guilty in the court of law, that's something else. Because this dude's gross. And maybe it's smart on paper, but to the public, to the survivors, it reeks of something else. It reeks of fear. And I don't want a justice system that gets afraid because they want the victory. Not when the victims had to be brave to speak up about it. That's the thing that bothers me. They ought to bury this guy. Absolutely bury this guy.